This is the Hexagon vision system. This is the start button on the jog box. This is the joystick. Move your sample left, right. Spinning the knob at the top raises and lowers the head. This done button will allow you to execute a command. Mode, I wouldn't worry about too much. This delete button will allow you to delete a hit if you don't like it. You can zoom in and out here with these two buttons. And move will allow you to create a move command, which is really not all that effective on this type of a unit. So here's the vision system itself. We're showing the lower part here with the slide on it. You can see as I twist this how the head raises and lowers. That's what's going to actually focus the camera onto your target. And this moves the platform or stage left and right, up and down. This button on the very top center of the joystick allows you to put this thing into fine mode, which makes it so you can move this stage back and forth a little bit more slowly for when you're trying to do fine movements, which you'll need as we move along. This comes with 3 different lights. We currently have the bottom light lit up, so if you're looking at edges, the bottom light is particularly useful. In the software, you can see here we show 3 different lights: a top light, a bottom light, and a ring light. If I turn off the bottom light and turn on the top light, you can see how in the graphic display it's illuminated. You really can't tell from here that it's being illuminated. It comes from the center around where the camera is in the stage, and even trying to look at it, you can't really see much from here. However, this other light here, if we turn off the top light and go to the ring light, which is the 2 concentric rings there to the right, turn that on and bring up the lighting. There's a bunch of LEDs around in a ring around the camera area, so you can see as we look up here. So the top light and the ring light are good for looking at top surfaces of items. So here we go. We're going to start up the software. This is the Hexagon Vision software. PC DMIS is what we're running here. And this is version 2014.1. They are all the way up to 2017 or so by now. So if you have the newest version, there are some slight variations, but they're not significant. Here it's asking you to hit the start button and do a machine start. So during this time right now, the head is moving up and down, the stage is moving left and right and front to back, establishing the home position of the device. Once it's fully homed, it will continue on and open up from here. So today's lesson is all about alignment. It is getting part initially aligned on the table in a manual and then direct computer control sense. So here we are, we're still waiting. It should pop up any moment now. It always comes up to a window that asks you if you want to open any existing files first. We're going to start a new file here, so we're just going to close out of this. Instead, we're going to go up here to File, New, select the new file. It comes up with this little window here. We can put in a file name. So here we are, we're typing a file name in. It can be whatever you decide. Drawing numbers are good. Here we can choose between millimeters or inches. You want to do that right here. We're going to go with millimeters. And it should always say machine 1. If it does not say machine 1, if it says default, then you have an existing copy open and you need to close it first. So here we are, we're looking at PC DMIS. It already has some startup information on it, and at the title bar, it pretty well self-populates this information with the system that you have. There's not a lot to change here. Pretty much want to stick with that. Some features here we have at the top. So auto features are these purple icons, and you can see them all. They're spread out in a toolbar below. We also have constructed features, the yellow parts. And you see we have an open toolbar of that. There's a quick toolbar up top that allows you to do that. You see I'm dropping down the quick toolbar. Same thing here with constructed features. And then you have in red your dimensional information, your GD&T, as it were. And again, I have a toolbar open for that already. Aside from that, we have tools for alignment, for views, and for executing a program. Down at the bottom here, you're seeing the live view right now that's in black, and the CAD view is this bluish color. You could set the colors for that differently if you so choose. But we're going to go up here to File, and we're going to import in a CAD drawing. This particular type is a .iges file type. I'm going to open up the Hexagon Vision slide because that's the part I have on the machine right now. And in the newer versions, you can check a box that says Fixed Surface Vectors. This one is a little older. You just say Process and then OK, and up will come your CAD drawing. So this has all the dimensional information stored into it. So we're going to work with this directly. We're going to program directly onto this CAD part. So here we go. We're going to start by getting this thing here, an auto edge point. And this opens up this dialog box here. It has a lot of information in it. Information about the orientation of the part, how the camera's looking at it from an IJK standpoint. And the IJK is the camera looking at it in XYZ. And down at the bottom here we have a lot of controls about lighting, focus, magnification, etc. What kind of edge we're looking at. And since this is a camera looking at it, you're really looking to transition between light and dark features. For this edge point, we want to go with minimum magnification. And the lighting source that we're going to choose is going to be the bottom light. So we're going to turn that on, and then we can adjust this slider to the right to get the proper lighting. And if we go to a live window, we can actually see how that looks. So I'm going to twist the handle on the jog box and try to bring this into focus a little bit. And then we can move it around a little bit to get to a point where you can actually see things. So here we are, we're moving down to an edge, and we'll just focus in a little bit on it. You can see the lighting looks pretty good. We can play with the lighting a little bit if need be, but you're really just trying to transition from light to dark for an edge point here. So that doesn't look too bad. At this point we're going to go back to our CAD drawing. We're going to program directly onto the CAD drawing. Don't feel that you have to do anything different other than go to the edge here, highlight it up, get right to the edge, and click on it. And it will put a dot right there. So that is an edge point. If you blow it up here, you can see there's a little indicator piece that you can move left or right. You want that to indicate the direction of your edge from the green head to the black head. It should be in that direction. There's an arrow and a line that should align with the edge of the part. Pretty much if you drop that on the edge, it knows to do it. Straighten up that line as best you can. And you can see now in this IJK orientation, it should be 0, -1, 0. Your Y, you're on the negative Y side of your part, so it should say -1 there, or something pretty close to it. And if you like that, and everything else seems copacetic, we're going to go ahead and create that point. We're not going to test it, we're just going to create it. It asks if we want to change the theoretical values for focus, etc. We're going to say yes, because we did make some changes. Now we're going to zoom out just by using the scroll wheel on the mouse. And we can also use Control Z at any point to center the part in the view. Again, we're going to focus in a little bit further down on this same edge. We're going to put another edge point on. We're just going to click there, take a look at it, make sure our line looks straight and everything. And then we're going to create that point. So at this point we can close out of that dialog. Now you can see over here we've created point 1 and point 2. Those are our two separate points on the CAD model. From there we're going to create a line between those 2 points. So we're going to construct a line using this yellow icon here. We click on that, it opens up this dialog. We're going to click on point 1 and then point 2 so that we go left to right, so that we're going in the positive x vector, which is to our right, and we're going to create that and close that dialog. And now you see we've created a line, line 1. Let's make sure always when we're programming that the cursor is at the end of the program that you're working on. Now the other thing we want to do is put another point up on the left side of the part. To complete our alignment, we're going to start with a line at the bottom like we just created and a point on the left side of the part. So again, we're going to go into Auto Edge Point, zoom in on this edge as best we can, and click the mouse right where we want that point to be. There it is. You can see how we've got our line there pointing towards the edge, and if it's not straight, straighten it up. If you notice our IJK now shows -100. That means we're in the negative x side of the part. So that's what we want. We're going to create that point, close that dialog out, and now we have line at the bottom and a point on the left side, and that's what we want. So now we're going to go up and create our alignment, at least our manual alignment. We're going to select a new alignment here. And the alignment dialog box opens up. We have those features we just created. We're going to take our line 1, and we want to make sure that the part does not rotate around Z. So we're going to use, let's take a look at the CAD model here real quick. We have a line at the bottom and a point on the left. As you see, when we click on the line, that shows our line in the x positive vector. And so we've selected x plus there as our tag, and it is around z plus, so we don't want it to rotate around z. So we're going to click rotate, and that stores that up in the top. We're also going to use this line as our y origin, because we want to have the origin end up down in this bottom left corner of the part. So we're going to click y and then origin. Next, we're going to take this point on the left and we're going to call that our x origin, because that is the side of the part we want to have our origin on. So click on x, origin, and then temporarily we're going to use that same point as our temporary z origin. So for sake of our manual alignment, that's good enough. We're going to say OK, and that completes our alignment. And you can see now we can relabel this thing at any point. We're going to call it manual align, so we know what we have. And now you can see how the little trihedron there is stored down in the bottom left side of the part. So we're gonna go ahead and execute this now. So what it's asking us to do is to bring that little tag up close to the edge of the part. So we want to get roughly to where we think it is in the drawing that we made before. So we're going to come over a little bit from the edge. We're going to slowly bring this little tool up so that it aligns on the edge of the part. And when we're happy with this location, come over, hit the little green arrow, and execution button, and it's going to focus in on this. And when it's established the point, it will say, okay, I'm happy. Now it's asking for the second point. So we're going to use the joystick to move over a bit on the part, roughly where we think it is in the CAD drawing. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be approximate. Again, we line it up on the edge, hit the green button, it focuses on it. When it's happy, it makes a little chirping sound and lets you know that it's happy. Now it's saying go to point 3, so that's the one over on the left side. And you'll notice how the arrow is pointed sideways now, so it's indicating that it wants to go over to that left side. So we're just going to use the joystick, move over to the left side of the part. Here we are. We'll bring it up nice and slow, align it with the edge. And we're happy with it. Go over, hit the green arrow. Again, it focuses on it. When it's happy, it's a little chirping sound. And we're good. So now we've performed our manual alignment. So we've aligned the part with the CAD drawing now. And you see our trihedron is down there in the corner. X is pointed to the right, Y is pointed up. And if we rotate the part a little bit here, change the view to the side of it, you can see now how Z is pointed straight up. And that's what we want. So we're happy with that. Change the view back here. Okay, so the next step is to put this into direct computer control. So we're going to select this yellow arrow here, and that says DCC mode. And that will insert that command into the program. So we're going to go back now and we're going to perform this alignment again with a little bit greater detail. So in this case now we're going to do an auto surface point. We're going to program points on the top of the part so that we can establish a top plane for Z. In this case we need to change a few of these parameters here. Since we're looking at the top of the part, we now want to take our magnification, which is right, that little tag there, all the way to the maximum. So we can really see the grain of the metal at the top. We also want to change our lighting from the bottom light to the top light because you're not going to be able to see through the part with that bottom light. Turn it up a little bit. Take a look at the live shot. We can see how this looks for lighting. We can focus in on this a little bit and adjust our lighting up or down until we feel like we have proper lighting for this application. That's probably about right. So once we're happy with that, there it is focused up a little bit. We can take a look back at our CAD drawing. We're going to put a spot and a blank spot on this face of this part. So we just click on it. And in this case now, we do want to test this feature to make sure that it focuses properly. We didn't want to test things during the alignment. It only serves to screw up the alignment. Trust me, I've tried it. You will pull your hair out. So here it is, it's focusing up on it. And then it pulls a final focus and says, yep, I'm happy, I like that. So we're going to create that point now. So since we know it works in that spot, we know it'll work on other spots on the face. So we're going to go ahead and place another point here on the face and create it. And then one more. You need 3 points for a plane. So we're creating a third point there. And then we're going to close out of this. So now you'll see we have 3 points here. Points 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to come up now and construct a plane. So we're going to use these yellow controls again. I'm just making sure that I have the program cursor at the very end before we move on. We're going to construct a plane. It opens up a dialog box, asks you what are you going to construct a plane with. We check those 3 points we just made, and we say create, and it's as simple as that. We have created a plane. So you can see right there it shows a little triangle in the center of the part. It says a plane. You have your 3 points. We'll close this dialog. You'll see in the program here now we have a plane. Now we want to move on and we want to create a line at the bottom and on the left side. So we're going to use a slightly different command this time. Instead of using an edge point, we're going to use an auto line. So the auto line is just a little to the right of that edge point. There it is. Click on that, it will open up a dialog box again. So in this case now, we're just going to put 2 lines on that bottom edge, and that will create a line for us. We want to make sure that we move back to a low focus state. Low magnification state. And we also want to turn back on the bottom light instead of the top light, because that's going to give us the best edge definition. So let's take a look at this live. Scroll down. You can see roughly what we're looking at now in terms of lighting. So we'll go back to the CAD model, and again we're just going to program directly onto the CAD model. So zoom in a little bit, place a point down, nice clear spot. So there's one point. Zoom out, zoom back in over on the other side. Wherever you zoom in is going to bring it to greatest prominence. We're going to test it. So it's going to go directly to the spot automatically. It's going to focus on the edge. And then it's going to sort of draw a line across the bottom as it moves the part. And what I've done is put it into grayscale mode here. There's a little tag at the bottom here that you can go from grayscale to color mode. It helps to highlight the green line that it's drawing. It's not necessary that you do this, but it allows you to see it a little better. We like what we had. We're going to create that line. And we're going to do the same thing over here on the left side. We're going to drop 2 points on the side. So there's one. There's another. And we don't even need to test it, we're just going to create it. So we'll close out of there. Now if you take a look here, we have our plane, we have our line across the bottom, and our line across the side. So here we are, we're going to do the alignment again. This time we have a little bit more information to work with, as we now have a plane and 2 solid lines. So we're going to come up to the new alignment dialog. Open up the box. Now in this case, since we have a plane on the top, we're going to use that as our Z level. So our Z plus level is right there. We're also going to use this as our Z origin. So we select the plane, click Z origin. Now we're going to go to the line across the bottom, our line that's going in the X positive direction. That is going to become our X plus about Z plus rotate. It stops the part from rotating. It is also going to be our Y origin, because that's the bottom of the part. And then our line on the left side is just our X origin. So that's more of a traditional alignment like you would see with a probe type CMM. So our alignment is complete. We can test this part of our alignment if we choose. We can go back up here to just below our manual alignment where we say DCC mode. We'll place our cursor in front, and we can use the command Control U to execute from that line down. So it always has some pop up. We'll say yes. And so now what's going to happen is it's going to automatically magnify in, change the lighting, and then move to the first location on the top plane where we are looking for a point. So here it's going to zoom to it. Focus in on it. And it kind of focuses in, goes past, comes back. It's not a perfect thing, but eventually finds it. Then it goes ka-chink, and it's moving to the second location. You can see that it highlights in the software where it's going each time. So it's looking for the second plane point here. Same thing. Focus on it. Find the spot. Say ka-chink. to the bottom, gets the other point, focuses in again, moves out, good chink. It's going to go down in magnification. We'll change the lighting source to the bottom light again as we told it to do in our programming step. It's going to go down to the bottom edge where we told it on the CAD drawing. Focus on the edge, and then it's going to draw a line across the bottom. Again, I can put this into grayscale mode down here if we choose to see the line a little better. It's a neat little feature. Likes the bottom line just fine. It's going up for the one on the left. Focuses on the edge. Once it's happy with the focus, it snaps this line up the side here. Does it very deliberately. And there, so it has completed that. It is now, the real part is completely synced to the CAD model. Everything is where it should be. From here we can start measuring features on this part, anything that we choose. Now that the alignment is complete. So I'll just do something real quick here, just so you can see how this works. Here's a little indexing circle at the bottom here. I'm going to zoom in on the CAD model for you here. We're going to use the auto circle feature. So again, it opens up